The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal Bigfooty rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Flogcast for the drafts and end of the season. The emotionally checked-in Tiger Starburns is here, and I'm joined by the Flogcast resident piano man, Dan.
Yeah, it's better to be doing this than I was actually going to do another SoundCloud recording. Just going to shit on everyone. But I'd rather do this. I'm happy to be doing this.
The number one fan of Sam McClure, Grille.
G'day, guys.
And Australia's number one exporter of baby formula from Hawthorn, Penal.
Hello.
Alright, so it's been like 6 weeks or roughly since we...
Too long.
It's been a while. It's just how it is. So, goo or tears, I think we got a bit of free reign to go wherever we want with this one. Like, there's been a few things happen, but the scope is wide, so go nuts.
I picked up the Christmas tree today, and it's not a big deal, but one of the assistants accused me of stealing it.
Dan's turned into crime. You
No, I
cigarettes
haven't.
last time.
Was this at Knox?
Underage children.
We shouldn't have to bring that up again. No, I actually regret talking about that. No, there's a primary school in my area that's selling them.
Stealing trees from children.
$30 each. Stealing trees
sold.
from children.
You end up in jail with Teffy.
Yeah, the two North supporters. How about that? Yeah, more North supporters in jail than there are actual North supporters going to the footy. No, I paid for the tree and I'm loading it in my ute and I'm about to go. And one of the assistants is standing in front of my car yelling, "Did you pay for the tree?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I did. Ask that guy over there. He was the one that served me." And this woman just ran back to the guy I'm referring to and they have a talk and on my way. And yeah, it was kind of weird, but I'm not happy with it because there's fucking spiders in my tree and I want to take it back. But so I've actually put the tree in the garage and I'm going to let off one of them insect bombs. Hopefully it just kills everything that's in the tree. And because you can't have spiders in a Christmas tree. I mean, it just fucking ruins Christmas. So hopefully that sorts itself. And yeah, I'm glad that happened because I didn't have anything else to share with you.
So basically, you're like the Grinch stealing Christmas.
Well, did the Grinch steal the Christmas tree? I think he stole presents, didn't he?
Well, trees are where the presents go.
Yeah, if there's no tree, how can there be presents?
That's true. That is kind of true.
So in a way, you're kind of worse than the Grinch.
It fits your sunny disposition that you've had all season too.
Yeah, it's been a weird couple of months. Well, the other thing, that's my fault. I kind of walked into that. But I'm completely and utterly innocent. I'm about to leave. This woman thinks that I've tried to knock off a tree because apparently they've had incidents where they've had people stealing trees. Like it's something that people do apparently, and it's not very Christmassy. So that they're very edgy, I think, when they see something sus. Not that I was sus. I don't know why she thought I stole a tree, but
You probably resemble the sort of problem customer they have. Maybe there was an image that circulated on Facebook.
The interesting thing about this is that you're coming across as the sort of person who would steal a tree and the sort of person that a teenage boy would go up to buy him cigarettes.
Hang on. I come across as someone who sounds like they would steal a Christmas tree.
Well, according to these people, they must think you are capable.
I don't think they judged me just by the way I was talking. I think they just saw me with the tree under my armpit walking away. And I don't know.
He's kidnapping the tree.
Kidnapping the tree. I don't know. It's weird.
Anyway,
Hey, listen, I'm a good person, all right? I'm not a shitbag. I don't break the law. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
Are you trying to convince us or yourself?
I feel like I've done the wrong thing, but I haven't done the wrong thing. I feel like I have to try to prove my innocence whenever I come on here sometimes, and it's not right.
You come on here and you tell us about your criminal activities.
Well, I've got nothing else to share. We're in the off season. There's no football going on. The only thing that's happening are movie makers in Hollywood, all pedos and rapists. Don Burke and
Tom Burke.
Don Burke. Actually, he's not a pedo or a rapist. He just shagged a lot of chicks in beautiful gardens. He didn't do anything wrong, did he?
There was rumours that he was an absolute cunt way before this. I'm pretty sure Ant shared him on here once before.
That's not law breaking, though, is it? Being a shithead. I mean,
He's just a real sleazebag.
Does anyone else want to go?
I'll just have some goo for good WA boy Sean Marsh and his match-winning century in the second test, and I think I'm about to get disconnected from the call any second now as Starburns' finger hovers over the button. I actually don't really even like Sean Marsh that much and was kind of indifferent to his selection, but hell, if it triggers Starburns, I'm all for it, so I'll make that my go, and I'm on the bandwagon now because, yeah, he's done well, and you got to give credit where it's due. Like Hardwick, like Marsh.
I'm having a shocking year with this shit. But I honestly did not think he was capable. But I say this now, there is no fucking way his brother does anything next week if he plays.
He'll get a five.
You are setting yourself up to fail with that one.
I know, but that's got to be the safest fucking bet. Like, there's no way that genuinely shit who's never done anything ever does something. Like, Sean Marsh has at least made hundreds before this. He was just very, very inconsistent and disappointing and old. Whereas Mitch Marsh has never done anything. Like, there's surely no way. Surely. Marsh did bat well, though, in the first two test matches. I expect it'll be another year until he does it again, though.
If the rest of the team showed half as much guts as he had...
Have you really not learned anything from your Hardwick experience?
Yeah.
No.
It'll be a year before he does it again.
It's got to turn eventually.
I'll go to Crown Bet right now, and I'm going to put a grand on him getting a ton in Perth now after that. Thank you.
It's the same ground. Scratch Perth after this test.
You always got to find an out. Like,
look, he just found the reverse button on his fucking tricycle.
We have Morgs.
Hello.
Did you hear the part where Dan stole a Christmas tree?
Yeah, you're a criminal.
No.
You're up there with
She
with
did hear
Mr.
that.
Aaron. I heard criminals of the Bay.
So is it going to be like,
What?
all shopping centre notice boards, do not sell cigarettes to this man because he's buying them for kids and stealing Christmas trees and all that
Call
sort of
Crime
stuff?
Stoppers and there's Dan with his strawberry
Yeah.
again.
There's a picture of
No,
you
it's
next to Mr. Aaron and Bombers on the Crime Stoppers website.
And Teffy.
Teffy.
That's
Criminals.
messed up. You haven't put me with that group.
There's a thread in that, surely.
There's a calendar in that, I think.
Oh, what month do you want? You'd have to have December. You could hide behind the Christmas tree. Bombers could have February because he'd be like Valentine's Day behind your fence or something. Mr. Aaron could have February for when all the little kids go back to school.
Oh, dear.
I don't know. When would Teffy like? When a weapons grade...
Yeah, grand final week, September.
Give him September.
To blow up the grand final, especially if Essendon got there. So, who's next?
I've got Goo for The Disaster Artist. Really good film. I've been looking forward to it since I heard it was going to be made into a film, and it didn't disappoint.
If I'm to see this movie, do I need to have seen the original, The
No,
Room,
okay.
the worst
So-
movie ever
No,
made?
don't.
Don't.
The original's actually horrendous. You watch the YouTube highlights.
That's what I'm told.
Yes.
Well, no. I would suggest that you watch it because, and I maintain this, and I've always said this. Yes, it's a bad film. In every conceivable facet of it is bad, but you are entertained while watching it.
Yeah, but I think you'd get the same level of entertainment if you watch one of the detailed YouTube breakdowns with all the scenes like, oh, hey, Mark.
But
or references
normally
to-
I would say, but you've got to put those scenes into context. But for this exercise, you have to watch the whole thing because you'll know that there's no context to it,
Yeah.
which makes it funnier.
It's really bad. Like, there's a awkward 10-minute sex scene which fucking Don Burke would
Just
be
over.
ashamed of. Like, it's genuinely, it's uncomfortable
Gross.
watching.
It's gross. I would suggest if you do watch the film, watch it in a group of people because
Yes.
it's far more
Don't
enjoyable
watch
if you
it
do
on
that.
your own.
But there was one particular thing at the end of the film, they recreate some of the scenes and they play them side by side. And it's really, really funny. You don't need to have seen The Room to get something out of it, but I would say after watching it, you would definitely want to see the film. I reckon it would make people want to see the film.
At least watch the highlights of, like, there's 10-minute breakdowns of stuff on YouTube. Like, it's cringeworthy bad, but it's so bad it's hilarious in parts. Like, he shoots a green screen for rooftop scene. It's just like...
When he had perfectly good rooftop.
You've got perfectly good rooftops and you shot fucking green screen for your rooftops. It's like, could you not afford... Oh my god.
No, that was the funny thing. And he shoots it in both high def and 35mm because he doesn't know the difference. So everything is just that little bit off centre.
It's great. Anyway, who's next?
I've got tears. I've got tears for St Kilda. So St Kilda have gone out and decided it was a good idea not just to have pet memberships, but to have pet membership sponsors. So they have a sponsor for their pet memberships. They've got Eukanuba on board, who are now sponsoring the pet memberships. Eukanuba centres around a philosophy of fueling performance, which is something we really identify with here at the Saints. It's dog food, you fuckheads. We also know that a lot of our members lead very active lifestyles with pets, so it's great to have a sponsor on board that values all our members and their furry friends. So they're having an open training session on Friday the 15th, where you can bring all your dogs down to meet the players.
Fucking hell.
Well, that's discriminatory.
Let them shit all over the turf at Seaford.
Dogs are going to shit all over the ground. Yeah, exactly. That's
all right. Last time St Kilda was infiltrated by dogs, they were schoolgirls.
Oh.
Mr. Aaron likes it.
How is Kim Duffy going these days? Is she still dating the strip club owner that's like 60?
I heard she was working at one.
What? How do you... That's the sort of selling out I'd expect from fucking...
Hawthorne.
Yeah, or Port.
Port.
Yeah.
I'm kind of annoyed we didn't think of that. Like...
No, you're probably so scared of the perception that you won't do it. Like, the pet memberships Hawthorne thing is not just a Bigfooty thing either. It's like sort of like...
A joke.
Yeah, like I've heard it used contextually outside of Bigfooty.
But it's like the sort of thing, you wear it as a badge and it can't be used against you. Like, we should just own that. If you try and shut it down, then people will just talk about it even more. We should have come out with this idea first, beaten them to the punch and just owned it.
Too slow, suckers.
And besides, there is something kind of cool about taking your dog to football training.
Why don't you just build a kennel at the pokey joint, and then you can let your dogs and all that there while they go and have a nice bet.
The dogs can play poker while the people are on the machines.
You can sell that picture.
You just gave me some goo to go with. You talked about Hawthorne coming out. Well, yeah, goo for finally the plebs has gone through with a yes vote, which if you actually look at the numbers, the 60% yes response out of 80% voted, which actually, if you do the maths, accounts to 48% of all registered voters voted yes.
Not just a small sample size, is it?
It's not just a Hawthorne statistic anymore. We are all now part of the 48%. And it's been amusing for some of the other things that have gone alongside it, like Bob Katter's little crocodile rant.
Who voted for that man? Seriously?
Oh, Queenslanders are a strange lot.
He was off again today because there was another crocodile sighting on a beach somewhere, and he was in the news again talking about it today.
He's a dead set maniac.
I always knew he had a screw loose, but that thing was...
What's the common denominator between Malcolm Roberts, Pauline Hanson, and that bloke?
Queensland.
Queensland. Just, oh my God.
Like, he's so mad that it's funny.
That's great.
Sometimes I'm just like, Pauline makes me angry, but Bob Katter just makes me laugh.
Yes.
He's a drongo. If there was ever a term that was made for somebody, Bob Katter is a drongo.
It's kind of like you never can get offended because you're actually going, what the fuck's he said? Like, well, what's he talking about?
No, because gay marriage is not an issue because no one even gets married in Queensland. No one gets married.
Gay
So it doesn't matter if the gays want to get
Gay
married.
marriage doesn't matter because every 3 months a crocodile eats.
Yeah, that no one has time to get married because they're too busy fending off the crocodile attacks.
Ever since Steve Irwin died, the crocodiles have
No
been
one
on
has.
the
No one
march
gets
back.
married because 4 people a year die from crocodiles.
The groom's waiting for his
People die from
bride, and,
vending
and,
machines.
and the crocodile goes down the aisle instead of the bride.
Yeah. Well, like with some politicians, you obviously want them to get a smackdown, and Pauline's a good example, along with Tony and some of the more nuttery ones out there. But Bob Katter, you just want to see more and more of him. You just want to see him do well. Like, you want to see him get promoted to like finance minister or something.
What's one vote in the House really for the entertainment he brings?
Governor General.
Yeah, I'd love to see him as the speaker. Oh.
Give him some major role in the government just to see what happens.
No, don't let him be deciding on anything. Just let him be the speaker.
All right, cunts, shut the fuck up.
But no, Katter's amusing.
He's unbelievably good value.
He's actually got a bit of Bombers 2003 about him.
What, sexual deviant?
No, just
Likeable old larrikin who hides a dark secret.
old clueless guy who just says the last thing you expect.
Just a mad old coot that you laugh at rather than...
Pretty harmless, but at the same time very lolsy.
You should be offended and you should be wary, but he's just so funny that you just let it...
Yeah, it's like I said, what the fuck's he said? Like, half the time you go, what is he on about?
Let your blossoms bloom, but not if there's any crocodiles around.
It's like that racist old grandpa that everyone has, but you still love.
So do you reckon there's a bit of, like, dementia, or do you think it's just an act, or...
Just Queensland, mate.
Oh, yeah, just drunk.
Something in the water up there.
Crocodiles.
Crocodile-infested water.
I probably wouldn't be too coherent if I spent all my day dodging crocodiles.
It's like there's that fear that a duck is watching you. I can't remember what that one is, but it's like a real fear. It's like Bob Katter has the crocodile equivalent. Recaps time, and we'll begin with the draft, which is really the major thing that's out there. We all got players that we didn't think would slip to us, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
James Warple, what a steal for us to get him. Like, I thought North were going to take him with pick 4.
Yeah, I'm shattered. I can't believe it.
Shocked and
Best
shook.
midfielder in the draft, and we let him slip. Hawthorn have screwed us again. Can't believe it.
And, well, now we know that Rayner will be on the market in 2 years' time. Start your engines.
Of course, yes. No, he's already homesick. Weren't you told? He already wants to go home. They all do. And I'm not even trolling. There's a history of this. They all want to go
Apparently
home.
his mum really wants him at Carlton, though, or some shit. There was like a rumour flying around.
Of course she does. She wants her boy home. He wants to go home.
Why would any parent want that for their child?
Money.
What,
The
to come
Carlton
home?
or the big in Brisbane?
To play in Carlton.
We get to come home.
Better than playing at Essendon, I reckon.
Because the child would get the brown paper bags and the parents would get a cut of that and they could retire well off.
Silvani gives the kids ice cream after training.
But what else do we have out of the draft?
Were there any, like, Blaine Blunkhurst or Tom Doty-esque sort of picks from clubs?
Oh, the one that Carlton picked, some dude that they probably thought had picked 172 or something. But I mean, it happens every draft, so...
Yeah, I was pretty pleased with Naish falling to 34 at Richmond.
That was good for you guys.
That was handy. I guess, like, obviously there are question marks about his size and his inside capabilities, but for an elite ball user on the outside to let him slip to 34...
Could be the next Caleb Daniel.
Well, yeah, you never know. But when you're committed to a father-son in that situation, they drop 3 picks below your first one. It's sort of a good thing. But what else was there about it?
Oh my God, Billy Hartung, Jesus!
Yeah.
Can we stop? Can we please stop? Even if
you didn't
it's
trade
free,
for
I
this one.
don't want any more garbage coming from Hawthorn. I don't care if it's free. No more
He
garbage.
probably got depression, mate.
It'll bite us on the ass again. I promise you. I don't want anything to do with any Hawthorn dealings whatsoever, even if it's free.
He's already won your time trial.
Yeah, that was a shock. I couldn't believe it. He won the fucking time trial. But everybody else on the North Board apparently knew that he was a running athlete and that he was considered the best athlete.
The only thing that could make this situation funnier is like if the third round or whatever pick we got Warple with actually came from North for Hartung, but you can't have everything, can you?
No, you can't. Actually, what I will say is, Morgs, you guys took a player number 6, Stevenson. Bit of a risk. Don't want to troll, but
The Tin Man from the Device. If I only had a heart. Probably a bit hard. I mean,
Yeah, more somewhat.
but he apparently he's a very talented footballer. So who knows? He might be a very good pickup for Collingwood.
Why? What's wrong with him? I've been overseas. Tell me more.
There was a heart question mark. Dan just called him the Tin Man.
He's got no heart, Morgan.
Oh, no, not another heartless cunt. Tell me he's got something wrong with it. I can deal with that.
He's got a heart problem.
There was questions about whether he could be an AFL footballer with the condition or whatever it is that he's got.
Oh, fucking hell.
There's probably an issue of him being able to fall in love with anybody.
Oh, that's a sadder story.
I don't know.
Well, if you haven't got a heart, then yeah, I mean you're gonna struggle.
At least he won't fall in love with the coach like the president did.
But if he has no heart, then he's probably going to be more. He's probably going to be able to tolerate the sort of shit that I'm saying. So that's okay. So it works both ways.
I don't think anyone at Collingwood's falling in love with the coach.
Eddie did. I'll tell you what we can discuss, actually, and I know Woosh has mentioned it at the questions.
Oh, hang on. We picked up a father-son. That was delightful.
Oh, did you get another Brown, didn't you?
Yeah, fucking every year. This is like an assembly line of them. This one's not a midget, though. Tyler Brown, taller than Callum. Happy days.
Woosh mentioned it, and I think it'll be quite interesting. She mentioned it in the questions, but we'll cover it now, that both West Coast and Freo got a Brayshaw each, I believe 66 picks apart. So,
And it'd be funny if the West Coast guy has the better career.
Yeah, if they both have better careers than Angus the fuckhead.
but yeah, no, all they have to do is be comparable for that thread to work. All they have to be is so that you could say West Coast Brayshaw is a better player than Freo Brayshaw, and have it not be ridiculous.
Tell you what I'm not looking forward to is fucking 10 Hamish and Andy jokes per week next year from Basil.
Oh,
Especially Basil.
I think he needs to be held on a very short leash next season.
is he replacing Koshy on Breakfast TV? Because that would be great. Is that actually happening?
Or is Koshy coming into box?
Well, no. Koshy's got to concentrate on actually making Port Adelaide some money instead of not.
Well, she doesn't actually know about football.
He knows how to pot a player.
Yeah, he knows how to call out the club for being heartless and then let them go after every single delisted player in the competition.
Imagine Kochi in the post-match after a loss. Fucking goal. Get him in there. So much for never tear us apart.
Have we got anything else out of the draft?
It was pretty...
Uneventful. Like, it's such an exact science these days with all the recruiters and the amount of work that goes into the research that there's not that many surprises on the actual draft night.
And frankly, like, a lot of people claim to know a lot of shit and don't really know all that much, and...
They don't know anything. This is the most frustrating part of the off-season, and that's kind of why I was trying to take the piss out of the draft thread throughout the off-season, is that people don't know anything. They're basing their opinions on highlight snippets that they see online, right? You've got everyone's highlight reels look good. You've got guys who get drafted late in the draft who have a highlight reel that makes them look like a top 10 pick or top 20 pick. I will never forget the hype that surrounded Reece McKenzie a couple of years ago. That got ridiculous. Reece McKenzie, the guy that Richmond...
Oh, that's right. He slammed the skull. He slammed the Tigers.
18-year-old kid, 197 centimetres, 100-plus kilos, full forward, had a highlights reel that made him look like Jonathan Brown, Wayne Carey hybrid. And everyone was talking him up as being this top 10 pick. Even Nightmare from the draft board gobbled that up, and Callum Toomey from the AFL, when in reality every club ignored him. It was only Richmond that gave him a lifeline with their last pick, and he just turned out to be another sad nothing player. Don't worry about
How sad was he?
Don't worry about highlight
He wasn't
reels.
sad
and shit
enough
like
for
that.
North.
No. Well, I mean, Hawthorn, you dropped the ball. You could have picked this kid up for nothing and sold him to North for a first-round pick.
He didn't play for Hawthorn first, so he wasn't going to be sad enough for us.
No, but I think there is some things.
Yeah, like there was one guy this year that I think was about top 15 or around the 15-20 mark in the Phantom draft that slipped to around 50-60.
Yeah.
But until he actually plays a game, it's not really worth talking about.
I get what you say, Dan, but at the same time, I don't think Tom Doherty had much of a highlights reel, and that's sort of come to fruition.
Do not disrespect Tom,
Yeah.
Goaty. He is the goat of not playing any
goat.
games. The goat.
The goat.
And I will not hear his name being said in vain.
The best player to have never played an AFL game on an AFL list.
Yes.
I think I feel a mainboard thread coming along.
Need always ball in to start it. Let's actually move on to the rookie draft, because I think that's where the most interesting stuff happened. Carlton took a Gold Coast Xer in Matt Shaw. GWS returned the favour on Carlton and took Dylan Buckley. Sam Reid got redrafted again.
We picked up a guy named Thomas Murphy, and then before you say anything, it's not the Thomas Murphy from Hawthorn.
That guy went to the Suns anyway.
He was the original fucking scapegoat. Before Schoenmakers, before victory,
Patient zero.
every fucking loss was somehow Murphy's fault. It's like the OG scapegoat.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I kind of half shit myself when I heard that, and I'm Googling this guy. And I see some 29-year-old with his little bio, and I'm thinking, why did we give this douchebag a fucking lifeline? I'm like, oh, it must be somebody else. Okay. Another bloody stud from Hawthorn. Just what North needs.
Is it possible that North's recruiter was trying to actually get out on Murphy, and they just made a clerical error?
They got the wrong one.
Yeah, no, he's looking at the list of available players. Oh, Tom Murphy. Oh, yeah, let's
Didn't
go
someone
for him.
do that once? Or there was a theory they drafted the wrong player?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember.
I know there's an old story about fucking Greg Miller drafted Jared Oakley-Nichols because he got him confused with Paddy Ryder.
Oh.
It's a bit of a dud move, mate.
Oh, Jesus. That's such a fuck-up. So bad.
There's also players that got picked up. Cramry got another go at Geelong. So Geelong chase another forward to not chase.
Topping up.
No, don't be stealing his lunch.
Surely they are the new North.
Well, yeah.
Well,
They're
I don't
sort
know,
of
maybe.
They're more the new. Like North actually took Nicky Dale and Sean Higgins and wait. These guys were a little bit better than some of the ones Geelong's chasing. Geelong's chasing Cramery and Stanley. And
Yeah, like look at their forward line. Fucking Aaron Black, Stanley, Cramery,
You got the
Lockie
Arsenal,
Henderson. Although he's actually alright as a defender.
All they're doing is throwing darts, and eventually one of them's going to hit.
Yeah, so the thing is, I don't think that their team, even in its current form, even with Gaz, even with Cramery, I don't think is going to make a huge difference. So I don't think they're as close as they think they are.
Well, yeah, but they're all in at this stage. They just have to keep going with it.
Their strategy is pretty clear. Like it was clear at the end of last year when they topped
Kind of
up.
have to be if you have
and
the
they're
ability
just
to get Ablett in your side, who's like 33.
reloading.
Yeah, if they abandon it now, then they waste Selwood, they waste Danger, they waste all these guys that they've got with no youth coming.
I like it. All the chips are going in.
Yep.
Yeah, like sometimes you just got to make a call and say this is where our list is at. We got to
know when to
go
hold 'em.
out to win the flag, and if they do win the flag, then well done. But if they don't,
Particularly
which I don't think they
in
will,
this
because
era
they've got
of football where clubs can pinch flags now these days. And it's
Why is that, Dan?
it'll be hilarious to watch them fall off the cliff one way or another. So let's just sit back and enjoy.
If Gary Ablett plays 22 games plus this year, I reckon the Suns have a huge reason to feel hardly done by.
But they knew he wasn't giving a fuck. Like, it's no secret anymore. He'd rather open a gas station than play international rules.
Which is fine. I reckon it would have been more insulting if he actually played international rules.
True, I don't pay much mind to the international rules, but he did agree to it. Like, he's welched on his...
Well, he agreed to get picked on a Thursday night and then withdrew 30 minutes later.
Yes.
Which is pretty
Yes, and that's why, like, when fucking, I think Lord Flashart made the thread calling him out, and then all the Geelong flogs tried to jump in with their concern trolling angle and just say, oh, you're picking on a man who's just gone through a tragedy. And it's like, no, fuck off. No one's picking on him because of that. No, they're picking on him because he's pulled out of games this year, and he's pulled out of the International Rules Series now. Completely separate.
And then he's still got time to open a fucking service station.
Like I said in the pre-show, if he had just, said, look, I've got to go home for an extended period of time, personal leave to look after, tend to my family, everyone would have respected it. Everyone would have gone, yep, good, fair enough.
And like the guys we're talking about, like fucking Nakaya, Dr. Giro, Harrow Lad, they're not very bright at the best of times. So, like, you could see some of the arguments they were coming up with, clearly reaching for it by saying, the service station's only a 2-hour drive from his house, whereas Adelaide's a 2-hour flight away, so it's because it's too far away or something. Just...
Dr. Giro is dead set short of brain cells. Don't tag me.
It's not exactly a Mensa meeting whenever those two are in a room.
Well, let's be fair. Bigfooty in general is not really a Mensa meeting.
Oh, don't say that in front of Boyd Show.
Anyway, someone mentioned the Geelong forward line, and like we're talking through Nathan Ablett, Podsy Adley, who was alright, Mitch Clark, Aaron Black, Shane Kirsten, Mitch Brown. Who else has played at the second fiddle to Hawkins?
Ken Kingsley, Cameron
That's
Thurlow.
gone back a while.
Cameron Thurley. That's an old one.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a very old one. I shouldn't have gone that far, but yeah.
That's
Stephenson, although he was more of a ruck, but they've had as much trouble in the ruck.
Reece Stanley. Morgs said it. They are literally throwing darts at this one, and they're hoping Cramry's going to...
I completely agree.
The only other one that I can think of that found a new home that we can talk about is Lindsay Thomas. Support, of all places.
Well, yeah, he did too.
Just along with Jack Watts and Rockcliffe and Motlop and Trent McKenzie.
Well, he's part of the crazy Vossi movement that's happening at Port Adelaide at the moment.
Vossi staged a mutiny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you hear Jack Watts' comments during the afternoon or morning or whatever?
Yes, that Port are closer to a premiership.
He's gone to Trelaw.
But he's saying Port Adelaide are better than Melbourne.
He said that Port are closer to a flag. I think Melbourne beat more top 8 teams last year than Port, just quietly.
Noble Park are close to the flag.
Jack Watts might just be better served by sitting the fuck down and shutting the fuck up.
You don't say.
He's just opened himself up.
Well, what's he going to
whack.
do? Say, I went there because I don't want to play for Melbourne?
No, he said, look,
why
I'm
not?
happy to be here. I needed a
He
change
went
of
there
scenery.
because they were the only club that would take him.
Yeah.
Oh, you could just say, just wanted, I think a change of scenery is going to be great for my career. Looking forward to getting stuck in. There seemed like a good bunch of blokes, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to go saying
He
shit
can't
like...
say that. He plays with Rockcliffe.
I mean, apart from all the pies going missing, it's fine.
Imagine how many sooks there would be with Charlie, Chad, and Rockcliffe in a team. Oh, mate.
Oh, there is the potential for big-time salts.
Who's Charlie? Oh,
Dixon.
Fucking... Oh, yeah, right.
Old Red Wine himself. I wish they came out to entrance music like each player. He would come out to Red Wine. He's sick. Or cheap wine and...
3-day growth. It's about 3-week growth. Anything else on what's saying Port are closer to a flag?
Well, given what's happened the last couple of years, I mean, they could win a flag. Brisbane could win the flag next year.
Oh, Dan. Can North win the flag?
Why not? Why
I
not?
reckon you can't do it without Warple.
That's true. That hurts.
Yeah, we'll probably trade 2 first-rounders next year for him. But we just got to wait a year. It's worth it.
I'd do it.
And he'll be damaged when you get him.
Let's go to the talking points, and we'll begin with the fixture, which I think was overall a decent follow-up to last year's, which was probably revolutionary in the fact that it wasn't so heavily weighted, like towards fucking Carlton in 2014 or Richmond 2016.
Well, speaking of Carlton, who decided to give them Friday nights again?
Yes, that was the one
That's
fucking
disgusting.
fuck up this year, or one major fuck up.
It's funny how they do absolutely nothing, but media-wise, Carlton are on the rise. I don't see it. I think they're going to go backwards before they go forward.
Where did this come from? They don't even play an attractive brand.
No, I think. Yes, they've got some talented players. No one's denying that.
Yeah, well, they've had number 1 picks before.
Yeah, but they've lost one of their prime movers. Doherty's gone down. Well, they didn't know that at the time, but yeah, I see them going backwards next year.
They're certainly not in that category of sort of teams on the rise that you could throw a blanket over.
No, but they're being
Builder and maybe one or two
touted as
others. Yeah, but just why? Is it just the bloody media goo chugging? It has to be, because there's no logical explanation.
But how can it be? Like, nobody sits there and goes, you know what, we need more Carlton in prime time. Who said... Not even Basil Zemplis would say that.
Well, that's it. Some of the games they threw up like this year were...
Because most of their games are bloody Ross Lyon type fucking...
And that's fine for where they're at the moment to be a
Bolton's teaching them
defensive.
defense.
We're not... We're not.
They're doing the Brendan McCartney thing from a couple of years ago and just focusing on
Roos did it
defense.
at Melbourne. Hardwick did it at Richmond in year 2. Like, everyone who gets
Brad
a
Scott's
basket
going
case
the other
has
way.
to do it eventually, teach defence.
Yeah, well, Hardwing's a genius.
Brad Scott's going the opposite way. He's going attack first because he reckons that teaching people to attack is harder than defending. So it's a bold move, Cotton. Super plays off.
Once again, Brad's on a different page, I think.
Crazy Scotty. I mean, look, like I said,
They know we're coming.
It's a Friday night.
Can you smell what they're thinking? And I don't mean the books.
Maybe they wanted more Friday night exposure so that their young players can get more rising star recognition, which they didn't receive this year.
That's probably a large part of why they're getting called an up-and-coming list, because they had all those rising star nominations, although...
What?
No, I'm agreeing with you, but we're trying to find the reason is why are they being talked up as an up-and-coming side?
No fucking reason. There's no good reason for it. It's just like there's nothing to suggest that they deserved that many. And it's not to say they didn't deserve none, but...
No, they deserve none. Sunday Twilight games, all of them.
Even you got a Friday Twilight for Good Friday. Even North got that, Dan.
Well, who would you rather watch on a Friday night, North or Carlton? Pretty easy.
I don't want to watch either, but you know, it's sort of like if they get one or two for the year, I could potentially wear that. But what do they got? Like 5?
That's not right.
It isn't.
Melbourne have none. Collingwood have like 2 or 3. How many do you have, Morgs?
No, I'm not sure. 2 or 3.
Yeah, less than Carlton. I'm pretty certain.
I think we got pretty hard done by because we only got the one Friday night and a bunch of Sunday games. So, like, obviously we're not flag material next year, but I'd expect us to be about, bottom half of the 8.
But you really
half
think
of the bottom 8. I don't think we're falling that far to be banished from prime time completely.
Well, the AFL
Like, they should have swapped us with Carlton. It would make a lot more sense.
Swapped anyone with Carlton, really.
Why doesn't Gold Coast get the opportunity to Friday night up?
Because they're rubbish.
Yeah, so nobody wants to watch that either. Like,
But, Carlton, if Carlton are getting it, why aren't they?
yeah, I guess Carlton has supporters who watch anyway, supposedly, but everybody else.
But at least I guess with the defensive mindset, I'm looking for positives here, and maybe it's a bit of a reach, but at least it won't be 100-point thrashings every week like it was in 2015.
Oh no, I had a look. We've got 3. We've got 2 in a row. 1 against Carlton, 1 against Adelaide, and then we've got 1 against the Dogs.
See, that's
Now,
fair
their
enough.
teams should get 0
That's
Friday
probably
night.
roughly fair for where you're at.
Absolutely.
We got like 4 or 5, and we won the flag.
Finish in the bottom 6 and you should get minimal.
You should get a bottom 6 fixture, correct?
Exactly right.
But, and
You get what you deserve.
You have your other
Yeah,
TV
and
games, or you
which-
have Anzac Day and you have Queen's birthdays. It's not like you're going to lose those. You still got those.
No? I
Which
think
is
we've got
why-
quite a lot of Saturday night games.
Which is why I do say it's a bit unfair, the fixture we've got, because we've finished 12th and we've got the fixture that you might expect for someone that finished 17th. And it reeks of the AFL being mad about Kennett coming back, and it reeks of the AFL being mad about us not getting out of Tassie so North can take over,
5
biting
Saturday
too
night
hard.
games.
dicking us with the fixture.
Yeah, so that's not too bad. 8 night games overall.
Yeah, and that's how the fixture sort of does shake out. In that, if you do miss out on the Friday nights, you might pick up a few more Saturdays. But it's just, I just don't get the Carlton thing. I really don't. It's so abnormal. It's,
I don't really care, as long as we
eyebrow
fucking
raise.
get to play.
The thing that's annoying about Friday nights is there's no other game to choose. Like,
Yeah, that's frustrating.
That's the
The
thing.
big
And
thing-
when Carlton's your only option, it's just like, and
Yeah.
that's what's annoying.
From a North point of view, the only one I would really have a grizzle at is the first round when we're playing in Cairns in the first round. It's going to, even though it's a night game, it's going to be, humid and
That's
hot.
the Com games.
Yeah,
Commonwealth
but,
game.
but Cairns in the first round in that part of the year.
Oh, it's probably not much difference to playing
Yeah.
on the Gold Coast that time of year with
Yeah.
the humidity. It's like,
No, Cairns is a bit more tropical than Gold Coast.
oh, well, you've got fucking 6 months to prepare for it,
exactly.
you fucking
You've got a
sooks.
bit of time to prepare for
Well,
it.
don't give me that shit.
Get up there fucking 6 days early.
That
Acclimatise.
actually does remind me of another thing that's ridiculous, is that Gold Coast sold a game to Freo. I forgot that because of the Com
Yeah.
games.
Oh, look, I just think any time, like whether it's us or whether it's any other side, to play up there at that time of year is a bit ridiculous. Like, it's just...
Isn't it
you know,
always
like-
hot?
They have to do it at
If
some
you-
time. They can't use their ground. It's just one of those fixturing things.
I mean, obviously, dehydration and stuff like that will be very important. I mean, obviously, yeah, like you said, we'll have to prepare for that. But, geez, it's not
You've
really...
got
thinking of
elite
player
runner
profit.
Taylor Duray now. Like,
No,
Oh,
Billy
Hartung.
Hartung.
oh, Hartung. Oh, you got the wrong one. It's-
Yeah, Billy Hartung will give you the edge. He'll be the difference maker.
How embarrassing for Adelaide that Sam Gibson won their time trial. Fucking shit.
They were all too busy doing the stance before they started.
Psyching each other out.
They were all standing in a line and Gibson had already done a fucking lap.
But no, Freo bought a Gold Coast Suns home game, which is another anomaly out of that. The same way Port did, but except this one's in Perth at the new stadium. What makes Freo special that they get to buy a game? Is this the AFL acknowledging that it won't make a difference? Freo were just that shit?
No. I think what it was is they paid more than, say, West Coast, and it was just basically...
How can Freo pay more than
wouldn't-
West
it wouldn't-
Coast? West Coast have like
I don't
money
know.
coming out their ears.
So did Freo. Freo got a stack of cash as well. But it was basically, it would not have happened unless the Commonwealth, like, it wouldn't,
Yeah.
it's only happening because obviously because of the Commonwealth Games. It wouldn't happen any other season. They wouldn't allow it.
But like
But
an extra home game would be enough for West Coast to propel maybe into top 4 and run the table to grand final week.
Maybe the Eagles don't play them over there, so there's no game to sell them.
Well, you can fixture it pretty easy though. Like you just make the request.
So what are Eagles crying about it?
No, just I find it odd that the game got sold at all, that they just didn't send the Suns on the road for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they do with like Melbourne United during the Australian Open.
Big bash.
They just play
and
away.
And the same with the Wildcats and the Hopman Cup.
They just play away for ages.
Yeah, in the Big Bash, if you got a test match on, the MCG and SCG teams don't play there for like 10 days at home in a 30-day season.
I don't know. I have the theory that, like, you know, to minimise travel for the interstate teams, that they should play all their away games in clusters. So, you know, you spend an amount of time in Melbourne, you develop a compound or a precinct for them, and they've got all their, creature comforts and all that kind of stuff. And then they come back and they play some of their games at home, and then so they're only travelling like twice or 3 times a year, as opposed to
Geelong have done that a couple of times with like back-to-back Queensland trips or some shit, I think.
Yeah.
It could work, but at the same time it's sort of the whole families thing. And
Yeah, I mean, but that's part of it. But keep in mind, like Major League Baseball, NBA basketball, like they'll spend, extended periods out.
they get paid a
Wait.
shitload more though.
Yeah, they do, but it's not like AFL footballers are going poor though. Like they are getting paid considerably more than the average profession.
Mm.
And I suppose the clubs need to think of, what's going to be more of an effect, living in a place that's not your house for a few weeks or flying every second week. Positives and
Thank
negatives, not all.
Thank fuck Gary Ablett's not there. It wouldn't make a difference because he wouldn't play for the first fucking 4 weeks.
Do you have anything else on the fixture?
No, I was just going to check. Oh, no, of course. Of course. Fucking Queen's birthday's a Melbourne home game, you fucking cunt.
You postured, you gave him a bit
Hang
of...
on, are you
I
complaining
have-
about another game that you can get to in Melbourne as a Collingwood supporter?
Well,
shut
come on,
up.
you
Morgan.
could get to games in Melbourne too if you didn't sell them to fucking Hobart.
You could get to games in Melbourne too if you didn't worry about taking the fucking bus.
Just so dumb.
What I do want to mention is Good Friday. North kept the Good Friday game.
Good
Different
on,
opponent.
North. Well done.
Yes, North.
You're playing St Kilda, is it?
Yes.
Are we playing St Kilda on Good Friday?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah,
the Bulldogs
the
missed
Dogs
out.
got moved on because they didn't send
Um,
anyone to the Children's Hospital last year to do their promo work
That's
because they
cold.
thought they were getting the home game next year. The only one who turned up was Stringer, and he wasn't there.
And that was because he was looking for a date.
yeah.
Shit.
You've got to be a bunch
Um,
of cunts if the only person that
St
turns up
Kilda.
straight
Yeah,
up.
they'll get close.
He didn't
to
actually
full health.
turn up. I only said that to make the
Oh.
same joke you did.
Oh, set me up. Imagine. They couldn't send Caleb Daniel. He would have got admitted, the fucking midget. They would have thought he was a fucking cancer.
Here's
midget.
another little kid that escaped the kiddies ward. Let's take him back.
Escape.
Oh, come on, mate.
It's not a prison, Dan.
Yeah, sure you do.
not
Sure you do.
Time for your medication, Caleb. Where's your mummy and daddy?
I'm a big boy.
I'm
I
sure
play
you will.
football. I play football. Leave me alone.
Give that he may grow.
He will never grow.
No, did anyone hear this rumour that the Dogs didn't submit any players because they thought it's their home game next year? They'll do it then. This is a big footy rumour, but
I've heard this, but
Like,
I don't
they-
know if it's true.
I've got to wonder if there's something to that. Or is it just the AFL looking after North, who had the idea in the first place?
Rich,
That
man.
doesn't sound like an AFL thing to do.
No, that
No.
sounds the exact opposite of what the AFL
Yeah.
do. The AFL looking after North is like seeing Bigfoot. Doesn't happen. AFL don't look after North.
It's like
The
moral
AFL, the
integrity.
AFL Penal looking after North is like Rolf Harris being a doctor at the Royal Children's Hospital.
Jesus. No, it is interesting though that the dogs have clearly done something to get themselves removed from this game.
No, and because, the AFL were all about the slurp on the dogs, and now they're not so much.
There's a new kid on the block.
Don't St Kilda have more members and just supporters in general than the Bulldogs?
Yeah, because they've got 74 fucking pets each.
Sponsored
And
pets.
and North and
You
the
can do
Bulldogs nearly sold out Etihad, didn't they? So I would imagine
like
that North and
45,
St
didn't you?
Kilda would probably do...
Which is reasonable.
Yeah. So North and St Kilda will probably do similar numbers, I would imagine.
As long as the novelty doesn't wear off, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think the novelty will necessarily wear off because, to be honest, Good Friday is a pretty boring day.
It is a pretty boring day.
It's the worst day of the year.
Yeah.
And it'll be
Absolute worst
the
day of
only
the year.
game on that day, and plenty of people will still go because they'll be interested. They'll want to go see some football. They'll go. They'll get
And
same sort of
I
crowd.
think as a TV viewer, it's not great, but I think as an attendee, it being twilight is actually better than it being night as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not a night. It's not actually a night game. It's like a one that
It's
kids,
what Jesus would have wanted.
kids can go.
Make Good Friday good again.
Nothing else on the fixture, unless we want to make any more Good Friday jokes.
No.
I just hope the Roos don't get crucified by the umps like they did last year.
Well, you know, bloody Plugger will find a way to make a bunch of saints getting crucified
We get Plugger.
jokes.
Oh, and Basil Zemplis will find a way to make fucking saint comments on Good Friday.
Oh, they should be playing the demons.
I've got another goo. Too late.
No, yeah, go more goo.
I got goo for the snow game today.
Oh, the snow
Oh,
game.
that was awesome.
I could for a snow game.
Did you see where that guy was taking the field goal and they had to sort of dig out a
and
trench?
they
for-
sweep it away. Sweep spot for him. Oh, that was fantastic.
No.
And then, did you see the video footage of when the Bills went out there and there's like the smoke in the red uniforms? It looked fucking sick.
I don't know. Sometimes those colour rush uniforms work, and it worked in that.
Yeah,
respect.
that one that was pretty cool. So this was the NFL where it was snowing in Buffalo like all game.
Like, you can't see a single part of the ground that's not completely white.
There were fans with like piles of snow on them watching the game.
Yeah.
The opposite of a fair weather supporter. And I stole that joke from the NFL board, but that's all right.
I liked some of the photoshops. It was like Hoth from Star Wars with the AT-ATs coming in after him.
Never seen anything that looked that cool.
And like
Fuck, that
when Shady's running for that last touchdown, you could tell the ball had never been to the end zone or hardly been to the end zone or one, because by the time he gets close to it, he's basically lifting his legs up like fucking that high because it's so deep.
It's like he's running in water. No, that was this is like you said. There's something hilarious about watching snow, like sports in the snow.
Snow Angel celebration.
I remember when,
Unless it's ice hockey.
well, that could be
That's
a bit
ice.
dangerous.
Ice,
The outdoor
though.
classics.
It's ice. Oh, fuck. Ice hockey's really boring.
Don't
but-
mentality. Nah, the snow game was sick
Awesome. More of it. Should be more of it.
More snow. I've ordered more snow for next Monday.
because there's something about sport and the elements. Those sorts of things make it awesome.
Yeah.
Like wet
Well,
weather
it's like
football.
those games down in Tassie, whether it be at Lonnie or
The wind.
Hobart, where you kick the ball and it goes behind you. That's fun to.
And on that note, we'll segue to like the uniqueness of sport that you just can't replicate artificially, and we will go to Morgs' favourite talking point, I think, the Essendon esports team.
Okay, explain this to me because I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to this stuff. So
Maybe we should have got Jose on to explain.
I think he's busy, isn't
our
he?
expert in the field.
No, he's home. He's back. He's travelled the globe to watch people play on their computers.
Was that the only purpose of his trip? Like,
I was going to say, if you're going to Sweden,
yeah, I could think of...
a fair few things that I'd rather be doing.
No, I'm pretty sure that he just went to that.
Fucking okay. I think we've discussed esports on here before, but I think we need to do it again.
Just explain it to me like
It's professional video gaming, but played up as sport.
So it's about as much of a sport as chess is a sport.
But no, because chess is still technically a game, but
Also, as a video game.
I'd say chess is more riveting than this.
Are you going to call these kids athletes?
No, because they're not. Like, what do their drug tests look like? It's like do they test them for
Fucking
bongs?
Mountain Dew and Cheetos?
Frozen pizza.
Energy drinks?
It's going to be part of the Olympics soon. You can get a gold medal for being really good at Crash Bandicoot or Mario Kart.
Mario Kart World Champion, Mario Kart gold medal. It'll be like a real gold
If it
medal in
wants
the
to be
game.
considered a sport, it needs to be the Kinect, the motion game. You actually have to exude some energy, I suppose.
Or we could just
Not
not have
just-
any of them in the Olympics, and that would just be sweet too.
Yeah, well, that.
Yeah.
But fill me in. What sort of games are usually played in esports?
I don't know. I think they play FIFA. Like, they play actual sports games. It's all meta like that. They play like FIFA as well as actual video games.
And do these people create a player and make their own player, or do
I think
they?
they play with the clubs, I think. I don't know much about it.
So what games would you like to see? Say, I don't know, your local community centre had esports sign-ups and they said a certain game, which game would you sign up for?
Donkey Kong Country.
Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
You've selected driver.
World Series Cricket.
Super International Cricket with the Seagulls.
Aussie rules footy. Out of bounds.
On the full.
I reckon Tetris.
Tetris. Word on the street is that Gary Pups is a bit of a Tetris enthusiast.
So what separates an enthusiast from someone who just enjoys playing it?
Oh, nah, he's ranked number 87 or something.
So it sounds like it might actually be a thing. Esports Tetris.
87th in the world in
Imagine that.
Tetris.
On
Like the big
PlayStation.
the big grand finals in Times Square, you've got the game on the thing, you've got this huge speaker system set up for it, and you've got Tetris on the thing, you got crazy Russian music going on in the middle of Times Square. How mint would that be?
You know what's the most cringiest thing I've seen? I googled this last night, and there's a YouTube video of players sledging each other, during a video game match or before. Then they'll say things like, "I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to annihilate you. You're going down." I'm thinking to myself, you guys are playing a fucking video game. You're not doing shit.
It's not like Mayweather McGregor, is it?
Yeah, I mean,
That's combat sport.
Well,
That's when you would say something like that.
I suppose Chewy on your controller doesn't really work, does it?
again, with
Dorito
the,
residue on your controller.
bit of profiling here again. I apologise in advance, but most of these kids, probably 18 to 21 or so, living in their parents' basements, let's face it, probably virgins, and so...
These kids are making money, though, and that's the part of it.
They've found a way. They've found a way to get really good at video
that
games.
are stupid enough to watch it that it should be mocked.
Yeah, to
Those
generate that kind of money.
It's still cringe overload to watch it though, just because.
I don't think the real losers are the ones that are playing.
No.
The losers are the ones that are watching.
And the fact that it's being treated the way it is.
Do
Generating
you know that you
Even-
can actually bet on
Even
it?
the casual ones that are
That
doing
is
it on
so
YouTube,
open to match fixing.
are the ones that are raking in the big money.
And that's I guess good on the betting operators for taking advantage of a market, because if
Good
someone's
job.
obviously keen to fucking spend money on watching and betting on esports, so
So
if
so
someone's
with
going to
esports,
take advantage of that,
Is there going to be an AFL esports draft?
No, because only Essendon are involved. Essendon Adelaide.
Don't Adelaide have...
So how does the Essendon thing work? Is the team called Essendon? Are they dressed in black, red colours? Are they the
sing the
Bombers?
song after the
Yes,
game?
all the NBA and European soccer teams are going all in on this shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
I don't want to sound old man, but this seems like a big fad.
Oh, I totally agree. They play actual video games, and fair enough. As Penal said, they're making money off it. Someone's got to be the best at these games. All they're doing is just competing to see who is. And the sad thing is, as we've said, people are watching it.
I think somebody watched the film Wizard with Fred Savage, and it's about a kid that basically plays in this Nintendo competition, wins 50 grand.
the
Pretty
thing
cool.
is, people have been doing this sort of thing for decades in terms of if you're really passionate about a game or a hobby, then there are competitions and you go and compete against other people who like it and find out who's the best in the world. Like Tetris was mentioned, chess was mentioned, heck, even diplomacy, they have competitions for that game and people compete worldwide and win medals and shit. So obviously this is no different, but somewhere along the line people came along and said, I'd like to watch this and I'd like to pay good money for the privilege of doing so. And that's the part that we just don't get, because no one says, I want to watch someone play diplomacy for 8 hours.
No.
Which is a great shame, I think.
Wouldn't the part of you just sitting there thinking to yourself, going, I would rather just be at home playing this rather than watching somebody else do it?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
You know what I mean?
The fun should be in doing it, not the watching. Like, who do you ever watch play games?
Well, I don't get how you could get enjoyment out of that.
You're at a party and somebody's playing, somebody's playing on the Xbox. You want the controller next.
Yes.
You know, you go, no, I'm happy to watch. I'm happy to watch.
Yeah, nobody does that. It's just like the old days of, if anyone did this with 64 when you had more than 4 people and you're playing like GoldenEye or something, next person who dies
Get subbed out.
hands it over to someone who's not. You're watching until it's your turn.
Yeah.
I just don't understand this. I don't know why Essendon are throwing money at it. It seems like this is their really sad consolation prize because they missed out on an awful license. And it's like, we don't have a women's football team. What's the next best thing?
I mean, there can be desperation for a premiership, and then there can be desperation for a premiership. And I think this is a bit over the top.
Such a sick thing.
All right, that's enough.
But they do play like other individualized games on there. Like they play like Rocket League and that sort of thing. I think is part of the esports setup, which would be, I guess, sort of cool if you had a team. But I don't get why people watch this shit.
So are we supporting the Essendon esports team, or are we shitting on it?
We're shitting
do we want them to do well or not?
We're shitting on it because it's fucking ridiculous.
No, yeah, I know. The concept of watching them is stupid, obviously, but I'm talking about team specific. Do we want them to do well or not?
No, not in anything
it's
ever.
Essendon. What sort of North supporter are you?
Okay.
Yeah, fucking hell.
They're going to play under the
That's
Essendon banner.
Does anyone have any sort of projected sort of streams that Essendon are going to make out of having this team?
None.
You're better off having a Premier League bowl.
It's all brand building. Everyone's buying it to build their brands, and so they don't get left behind. But it's like there's just no
Need for it.
there's no market for it.
Maybe North can use the Dustin Martin money to buy a couple of esports teams. What do you think? We can get the really good players like from South Korea. We'll give them the basketball court at the club, and they can set it up and have their own little indoor bloody video game.
But that's sort of how
area.
this shit works. They give them their own fucking setups, which I imagine are just like beanbags and fucking massive TVs.
So they're going to be this team's going to be based out of Tullamarine at the facility.
I actually have no idea. I just think that they're sponsoring them basically like St Kilda and Pet Food.
But I just can't believe they're being paid to play a video game.
Except not as a tester. You're getting paid to compete at it.
Exactly.
So if you're
Well,
shit, you'll eventually not get paid at it.
The real issue is what sort of person goes to watch this sort of stuff,
Jose.
especially flying halfway around the world.
Yes, like if you're going to watch this stuff, isn't the point you can watch it on a screen?
Missing out
Well, even
on
then,
all
I
the
wouldn't
natural
even watch
beauty
it.
of a place because you're
There's probably some
watching
stupid
people play
competition
video
on
games.
YouTube right now that I could watch, and
There are.
I won't be watching.
Yeah, streams all the time.
Like hundreds, Dan.
Thousands.
Billions.
Anything else on esports?
It's e-shit. Don't watch it.
Put it this way, I've learned everything I've known about esports in this and our chat for the Flogcast. So
Yeah. Look, all I can say is this. If I were going to go to Sweden, like on a list of places where I would go, I could write down 1 to 1,000 and not have anything about esports, and then I'd maybe get to like 1,001 things to do on the list. Esports competition, somewhere around that sort of range.
only if it was like AFL Evolution or something like that too.
Just play games. Just involve yourself. Don't watch other people. That's the point of
Yeah,
games.
just play with yourself. Don't play with others.
Just play
I
with
think
yourself.
these people play
Words-
with themselves a
words-
fair bit.
Just play with themselves. The wise words of
Do you reckon the esports players have groupies?
Are you joking? These nerdy little shits that got
Yeah,
creepy.
Hey,
I think they do, but I don't
they're
think
clearly
it's-
existing in a different world to us.
They do, like
Yeah,
some of
I reckon they
the
would.
fans that they would attract. Like obviously, if someone's willing to fly halfway across the world to see this shit, they would obviously attract dedicated fans.
And that's someone
and those
who's
would be the
Jose,
sort of
not a
people
hot
who would.
chick.
No one said they're hot.
No one said anything about
Yeah.
hot chicks. Like these guys would probably have
You
legions
associate
of.
groupies being hot. You don't
No, you
associate
think
ugly Billy chicks.
Yeah, in rock and roll, perhaps, like in with fucking Mick Jagger's groupies, maybe. But like, we're talking about a different world, like you said.
Socially inept people. I can't see it.
Well,
It's
even if we're talking about Susan Boyle-esque women, I would say these type of people are not going to
Nobody's out there.
gravitate.
Susan
They're not
Boyle
going to
job.
gravitate
Oh,
through
well,
these.
Type of people. Second-class citizens.
Nobody's doing that.
They're nerds. They're nerds. They don't pick up chicks. No matter how good they are at Mario Kart, Crash Bandicoot,
I hope there's
Sonic
one
the Hedgehog.
guy that
I imagine not all of them are, Dan. There's probably fucking stoners in this group, you know, who just, or like school burnouts who spend all their time playing the games that aren't just nerds. They're just fucking, it's what they did and they got really good at it from wasting their school years.
I hope,
Yeah,
I hope there's,
and
I hope
in that
people-
they fucking didn't develop any social skills and like grunt at girls.
Or they have all the tact of Don Burke.
hang on.
Maybe
If
they
you
can
thought-
chat with them online.
Yeah, if you thought some of the shit that the actresses working for the Weinstein Company went through was bad, just imagine how bad it must be to be a moderately above average looking
Morgs,
female
I think
esports
you've
person
stumbled
or
across that
streamer, because they would get all the attraction from these. They would just get all of the groupies, in inverted commas, piling on, which is the sort of overweight young nerds following them around and propositioning them for things.
Found you. No, but I think Morgs, I think you were sort of hinting at something where instead of, you know, like, sorry?
It's not usually that subtle.
Oh, no, but I don't know if I misread what you were saying, but like, as they're not actually they're playing a video game as opposed to doing the activity or whatever the video game is, the groupies, it would be cyber. It wouldn't be sex.
Hang on, cyber groupies.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
Like that sex robot, Dan.
No, like cyber sex.
What the sex robot that tries to kill you in your sleep, like some Skynet shit that someone predicted would happen if they end up manufacturing these robots.
Yep.
Yeah, that's scary. Don't get those robots. Even if you're a lonely man, don't get those robots.
That's not the reason not to get those robots.
I mean, not everybody.
If it
not
kills you in your
everybody-
sleep, you're finished.
Not everybody thinks that a vibrating rubber vagina is a good investment.
Penal does.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
Luke
conversation's
Grille's-
gotten weird. We're talking about esports people and their potential groupies or pretend groupies, cyber groupies, and robots, sex robots that kill people.
I think the Grille hit the nail on the head when he said just play with yourself, because honestly,
that's what I said.
Yeah.
LeGrand
You can't
said, just play with yourself.
Let's move on to... We talked about, the esports and how it's a little bit cringy. Let's talk about something else cringy. Nathan Wilson's photo.
Oh,
Oh
what
my
the hell was
God.
that? Some real bogan-ass shit that was.
What the fuck is... That poor kid's gonna see that one day.
He is. He's going to be traumatised and bullied for it.
And they called him Jace.
It's so bogan-looking. I mean, it's not a good look.
Why is he not wearing a shirt?
Tats.
I kind of get the maternal sort of photos you want to do with your partner or your
It's
family.
just like
But
disgusting.
that's just, it's a bit sort of...
And even if like it's not, body shaming or any of that crap,
Well, 'cause
it's
she's pregnant.
just, I mean, look, I'm sure there are certain men that get turned on by that crap, but
Oh, what?
I don't think it's a bit close to the Not everything's there for your sexual
She
pleasure.
kind of looks like a
But
esports groupie.
okay, this
I had to look at that picture of fucking Mitch Robinson. That wasn't there for my sexual pleasure. It's not all about that, Luke Grille.
no, but what I'm saying is surely that kind of a photo is a photo purely for them, for the family. It doesn't need to be plastered in the newspapers for public consumption.
I don't know why they want it.
Does the sight of a pregnant woman repulse you, Luke Grille?
Not at all.
What if
I
she's breastfeeding?
I'd look
I
away.
would be repulsed by the
People would be
breastfeeding because
repulsed.
it means no sales, but
No, but my point
If she's
is that
breastfeeding, I imagine like Bob Katter would be angry with it or something.
Because crocodiles can't breastfeed.
but what I'm saying is that that's a pretty, like, I mean, for all the reasons that you guys were saying, like, the kids can get teased. I mean, I've copped a lot of shit online about it anyway. If you want to take a photo like that, that should be a private think.
Yeah.
I want to know why he doesn't have a shirt on.
Because he wants to show off his tats.
There's clearly a reason why she's not wearing a top that covers herself, but why is he not wearing a top at all? Ridiculous.
I mean,
And
that
why
was
would you
what-
have Bond's underwear hanging out like that's something worth showing?
Oh, that's all the kids do that.
All the cool kids do that.
I don't think they considered everything when they did. Like, there's a few steps here where I don't think they really thought about what they were doing.
Yeah, they probably didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah, like clearly when they gave it to the fucking Western Australian, they clearly weren't thinking too far ahead on that either.
That's what I'm saying. It's more about the putting it in the paper and all that sort of stuff. Like, that's a private thing.
Yeah, because apparently everyone at GWS does it.
I really like the first photo in the article. I think the second photo is fucking weird.
What's the
first one? I've only seen the one.
I've only seen the one that everyone showed.
Yeah, same here. Where's the second one?
What's the second one? No, the first one is just his profile, a side shot of her, and he's got his head resting on the bump.
Oh, that
And
makes
like
sense.
it-
Oh,
That's
And
nice.
that-
Does he
that's
have a
nice.
shirt on,
That's
though?
nice.
No, he doesn't, but he's kneeling down because his head's against the bump, but he can't really, he doesn't
can't
look
see.
that bad. The second
He's
photo,
not trying to
No.
lick the belly, is he?
no,
I
he's
just think
facing
it's a
the
bit
camera
attention
smiling really
whorish.
creepily.
I bet that's what Don Burke's maternal photos look like with his.
Okay, hang on a sec. I think we've got to dovetail into this. So Don Burke wanted to lick Caroline Wilson's back while she was pregnant.
What?
I don't know if someone was taking the piss or what, but that's what I heard.
I think
There's
you've been
two parts
trolled
to
on
this
this
story.
one, son.
I'm pretty sure I had been. I wanted to clarify it. I thought that someone else should have seen the post.
Oh, hang on. Apparently this is real, and it happened at the Logies 20 years ago. Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
When it comes to him, it seems to be.
Now we played the autism card.
Oh,
I diagnosed myself. Sure.
yeah. Respected. This is Sydney Morning Herald. Respected sports journalist and commentator Caroline Wilson. Well, there's fake news for a start. Has revealed Don Burke once asked to lick her back while she was pregnant.
Anyway, back to Wilson and the photo. Yeah, don't think you should do that. Or publish it anyway. The thing that made me laugh was fucking Bestie's Photoshop, though, because her name's Stevie May. Stephen May's face on her.
Oh, no.
And they called it Jace. It's like Ace Cordy, but with a J.
No, they haven't called it anything. It's not born yet.
They said the
But
name is
they
Jace.
tentacle, Jack.
No, they're going to name it Jace. She's 31 weeks pregnant. There's nothing I despise more than people who name their child before it's born.
Well, at least they got time to change their minds now.
Oh, like Sophie Keisha did, except she'd already named the child because that was what she thought she was going to call it.
Who?
Then fucking 3 days, Jared Keisha's wife, and then 3 days later had to fucking change her name by Depol because she fucking...
Who?
Jared
What?
Keisha, he played for Carlton.
Hang on, she had to change her name by Depol.
Depol. She changed the
Deadpool.
child's name by Depol because she didn't like it anymore.
Okay, what was the child's first name?
So she's big on the internet in mum circles.
I was going to say big on the internet. What, does she play esports?
No,
Social-
young mummy.
Esports groupie.
Social influencer, I think you'll find it's called.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
So she called her Betty initially, but then didn't like it anymore, so she changed it to Florence.
Well, the second one sounds better.
Betty was Betty
Flo.
Margaret, and now she's Florence Margaret.
Slow.
And now she just calls her Flossie.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Flossy.
Anyway, if we've got nothing else on Wilson and the photo shoot,
No.
don't go the Western Australian with that. You're going to get trolled. Have you not seen social media?
Oh, that's right. That's what I mean. That
Nothing
was all
good
I
can
was
come
saying.
from that, sharing that with other people.
It's just sort of like attention whoring.
All it screams of to me is that Stevie May wants to be famous.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bingo.
Stevie May wants to be famous, and she ain't going to fit in a red dress with a G-string hanging out the back, so she's going to put her baby bump on the fucking front page of the West Australian.
Social media trolls are pretty harsh. Apparently it's the reason Ty Vickery was a failure.
That and his lack of ability.
He's finally retired with a year to go on his contract. Penal, how do you feel?
Relieved that it's over, but angry that it happened in the first place. Like a really bad relationship, which is, I think, the best comparison for this whole sordid affair.
Bit trolling part about it. Was any of it that he copped really too far?
I don't think So.
The guy was shit, and then he had Jake King death threat the guy.
Oh, and he king hit Dean Cox. I mean, okay, everybody's wanted to do that, but, you know, he actually did it. Like, you know, took cheap shots.
Like, we're pretty awful at times, but at the same, I don't think we've been particularly awful to Vickery, except saying he's not very good at football.
Yeah, there's always a line, though, and the thing about the line is that some people always find a way to cross it, whether that's with sort of suicide comments or going too far on any sort of family issues or playing race and religion cards, those sorts of things on people.
You mean like the Hawthorn supporters on Gary Ablett?
I would say no one's crossed a line yet there.
You're so shit, you should join an esports team.
You're so shit, you should be an esports groupie. Actually, maybe that's where groupie got his name from. Seems like the likely type. But there's always a line, and people sometimes cross it, and maybe...
I never cross it.
Maybe it's the case that some people went on Vickery's social media and shit.
Not on social media anyway, Dan.
And he's looked and he's seen it, and there's been some really nasty stuff on there, and that's affected him. We don't know. We can only speculate. I think that's all this guy was doing. Like, it was his junior coach in the media that came out and said it. He's probably only speculating, so no one really knows.
Like you said, Starburns, you know, you see that stuff where they publicise those pictures and they think that that's not going to be commented on. Well, it is, unfortunately.
I don't know exactly what he copped, but at the same time, he's going to get paid pretty well next year not to play football as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can make the argument that is, you know, you're getting paid that kind of money. You know, you've got the privilege. I think everybody on this podcast would have loved to have played AFL football. I don't.
Not
really.
really.
You know,
I would have preferred to be a professional esports champion.
No, I really liked it. Yeah, I just want to watch.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, there's downsides that come with the plenty of opportunities that he has, even after football, that he has got purely because he played football. Like, every profession has positives and negatives, and you do something...
Those who can't talk on podcasts.
Exactly. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, and we take pot shots at him, and, of course, as you always get on the main board when someone sinks the boots, and you always get the hero who comes in and goes, oh, but he's played 100 or more games than any of you, and it's just like, it's like, yeah, great. It doesn't mean he wasn't any better or worse than
I am at my job,
or at football in general.
And I've got 41,000 posts on Bigfooty.
I'm comfortable with the idea that I would have been a better footballer than Tyrone Vickery, so I don't feel bad about giving him any shit at all.
Just those dodgy knees, eh?
That's because as a footballer, you were Jake Stringer, weren't you, Dan?
That's exactly, without the off-field stuff. But yes, of
just
course.
the buying cigarettes for minors.
It's all a slippery slope, isn't it? 1 minute you're buying smokes, next minute you're in bed with them.
And you think Mum was disappointed before? She was really angry now.
Yeah.
Anything else on Vickery?
The best thing for Tyrone is that he's out of the public eye and no one's really talking about him anymore. He can get on with his life.
Well, we are.
Except for us, yeah.
This is probably going to drag him down for another 2
No,
years.
but I mean next year. Like, he won't be playing football. He won't be running out in the twos. There'll be no speculation about his contract or any sort of shit.
Is the consensus here that he retired because of the online shit?
No, that was just a theory.
No.
He retired because Hawthorn offered him money to not play football, basically.
Because they said, you're not going to get a game.
If you do that, if you retire because of what people are saying about you online, then you have to question whether you were serious to begin with about having a career as a professional athlete.
Maybe he wasn't serious about it.
It probably would have been a factor in the sense that the writing was on the wall that he wasn't going to get a game next year unless half the list, like, got AIDS or something. So...
Which is a chance.
It's a 48% chance. In any case, the writing was on the wall, so we probably said to him, look, save yourself from the fucking media beat-up and social media beat-up as part of that, and piss off. We probably didn't say it like that, but I guarantee you that's what Clarko was thinking.
It's Bob Katter-esque. It's just like going from like, nice, or take all this, blah, 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 and piss off. It's just a pivot.
Don't get eaten by a croc on your way out. It'll be a fucking OHS nightmare.
How many contract did Jordan Lewis get at Melbourne?
Three.
Fucking hell.
That's not as bad as the 3 that Collingwood gave to Daniel Wells.
Or the 4 they gave to Chris Mayne.
Do you reckon he could play more than the 3, or?
I reckon he'll go off the cliff at around about the midpoint of the third year.
I was really hoping he'd get to 100 games at Melbourne.
Still possible.
Now that he's just had 2 more sons.
Let's move on to another thing, and it's not an off-season without a St Kilda genital scandal. Dan's mate, Dylan Robertson, has...
Yes.
It's probably not really a laughing matter, but he ruptured a testicle playing cricket.
Was he not wearing a box or something? What's going on there?
Playing with a tennis ball. It looked fairly innocuous when you see the video. He got done in by a fucking slower ball.
Well, yeah.
Well, he should have said he was playing with the dog.
Like, this is why you play esports. No injuries in esports. All you get is RSI.
Carpal tunnel. Yeah.
Can you imagine an esports
Like
injury
Oh,
list?
I don't know. Sometimes you hit the table when you lose.
Injury lists in esports, like
Wrist.
smashed controller.
And if you need to go to the toilet, someone just brings you a bucket.
Stub toe somewhere along the line. But from
Cross
what we've
eye.
heard, the sledging is quite vicious. So
Hurt feeling.
if that's, I don't know if that's led to any actual injuries. Probably not.
There were a couple of Mountain Dew overdoses that were pretty hairy for some of the guys.
How would you insult an esports person on social media? Like, to go after Ty Vickery or something is easy because you go you're a shit truck, you're slow, you can't kick. But what do you do with esports?
Is your controller on?
You can't click or
Yeah.
what?
Your thumb's so fat.
Yeah, you're pressing all the buttons. It's so
You
big.
get a dialing wand.
You go to press the space bar and you press the any key.
You belong with the spectators. That's the ultimate esports sledge.
I tasted your mum's hot pockets last night. They were delicious.
Dr. Robertson, though. Phew, it's a rough injury, but fucking hell.
Well, if you get hit in that region, I mean, you feel it. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's a tennis ball or a cricket ball. I've played table tennis, and I've copped a table tennis ball right on my ball, and it hurts. It's like, oh, shit, you got to give me a minute.
A table tennis ball.
If it's hit at velocity and it hits you, I mean, you feel it.
Just need to get you in the right spot the right way.
Oh, come on, not a ping pong ball. Come on.
Listen, if we ever meet, I'm bringing a racket and a ping pong ball, and I'm having a free go at you 5 metres out, and then you can judge whether that
Just
hurt or
roll it
not.
along the ground and you'll hit him.
Because we wouldn't be able to do this at a conventional table tennis table because you'd be barely standing over the
Oh.
tennis table, would you? Hey?
Couldn't see over the net.
I'd whip your ass in esports, fucking table tennis, man.
You probably would. You probably would. I'm happy to concede. You
Is that
probably
Paul?
I could mash my thumbs on the keys so much faster than you ever could, Dan.
Bayer would be the best at esports.
Nothing else on Dylan Robertson?
Nah, is Nathan Freeman dead yet?
Can you imagine what would happen if Nathan Freeman got hit by the ball?
Oh, fuck, I'd love that.
He did his hamstring doing a forward defensive shot.
McCartan top edges a tennis ball into his face and gets concussion.
Are we that terrible?
McCartan would fall over putting the star on his Christmas tree and get concussion.
You mentioned the snow game before. Did you see the concussion that Savage at Houston had, where he was twitching?
Oh, he's shaking and
And they
shit?
sent him
Yeah.
back out there.
They sent him out there again.
Yep.
Oh, what a joke.
Yeah, he passed the baseline test. You had to go out.
Fucking hell. Don't get that in esports. Let's go to this month on the Bay. Thread of the month, or 6 weeks. It's more
Oh, there's been a lot of
Sorry?
shit. There's been a lot of shit.
There's been a lot. There has to be something decent, though.
Well, that
Say what? For
That,
Elksy of the year.
Yeah, we'll see the
that one about the stats, the posting area stats. That's all right.
Yeah, well, we can go back over the last 6 weeks. I'm sure there was...
Can't really remember anything.
Flogmas Tree, Dan.
But that
that's not bad.
hasn't run its course yet.
Well, it's
No,
pretty
you still
close.
have till the end of December.
Pretty close.
to-
Vesti's used up all his...
Yes,
all
he
his
has.
ornaments.
Jesus Christ. Well, get out of the thread, you annoying little faggot.
Oh, Survivor been pretty good. I haven't really been paying attention.
Survivor's been great.
Finally, we got
Yeah.
our Survivor crew in there as well, so that's always good.
Assorted Arnott cream biscuits, ranked.
Oh, God.
Or
Everyone
maybe
knows pizza are the
maybe
best.
we could nominate the movies thread. Have you seen a movie 3 times? Movies that you haven't seen, or movies that you didn't like but you've seen?
I think orange creams are terribly underrated.
Ugh.
Terribly. It's just criminal.
You'll eat it when it's the last one left, but that's the only time.
Cameron Rayner wants out.
Yes. Well, I didn't get as many bites as I wanted, but still, it's a good thread.
I don't get what Black Excellence hashtag means. Always balling.
There's a lot going on in the mind of that guy that just isn't immediately apparent to us mere mortals. He's like the other Bob Katter of Bigfooty.
That's exactly who he is. The Bob Katter of Bigfooty.
The Crisco thread was pretty good. Then every cunt started trolling it, and it was okay, but not quite as good.
Oh,
Good,
it was better before Duritz fucking tried to take over the page on Facebook.
Yeah, there's an
He's crap.
Dub and KP in there as well. Like it was much funnier before people were interfering. It's still all right, but it's not as good.
No, it was much funnier to watch them in their natural habitat, not being
Exactly.
trolled.
You don't.
They
mess with
did the
phenomenon.
work. We didn't need to poke them. They did everything.
Yeah, but it was tracking really well before that too. Like there was some great shit. Like the person who took the fucking meat out of the fridge and put it on their back concrete to photograph in the sun.
It's time to troll sports bet.
Some Craffles. It's not bad.
Yeah.
The wild snack pack was the horse. Yeah, I don't know. What do we want to give it to? Survivor?
Yeah, give it to Survivor.
Stop
mean,
getting
there's-
my endorsement.
Day 13 Survivor, Dan. This version's alright. Vlog of the month. Teffy.
That's too easy. Can we nominate people outside of Bay or organisations?
Okay, yes. Well, yeah, I think we've done it before. We can definitely nominate people from outside the Bay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to nominate the Bureau of Meteorology from a couple of weeks ago. Now, I know that certain parts of Victoria got absolutely shitted on a couple of weeks ago with the weather, but
Like last
what
week.
they were saying in regards to Melbourne, dire lives could be lost, the worst, rain, storms, hailstones and wind. I even got a shitty little SES message at midnight on my phone about the warnings of the weather and shit. And I'm happy to announce that I survived the little puddle that was in my driveway when this whole thing happened.
I hope you didn't go out and buy a dinghy.
No, I didn't buy a ding. There were people, I know people that got sandbags because they were worried, right?
My next door
all they
neighbours had to
achieved-
sandbag.
They had to.
all they did with this overzealous panicking with the weather predictions, people had to close down their business for the weekend. There were outdoor activities that were cancelled.
It was too wet to do shit outdoors, man.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
People,
Robbie Tarrant got married
did he? Well, congratulations to Robbie Tarrant.
on that
well,
Friday in the rain
he,
outside.
his wedding still went through. There were people that actually cancelled their weddings because of the Bureau's prediction of this hell of a storm that even barely rained where I was.
Do you know what, Dan? I reckon I would rather lay sandbags unnecessarily to not lay sandbags and then it rain. Like
I would rather have accurate bloody predictions about the fucking weather than having
walked
a
into that
big
one, Grille.
campaign.
Yeah,
I mean, nothing happened. Now, granted, some of the shit happened in Victoria, in the regional parts, and they were right about that. But they were giving us the same warnings in metropolitan Melbourne.
Oh,
Nothing
yeah, they were
happened.
sending people home early from my work, and because it was going to be such a fucking disaster, nothing happened.
So the Bureau,
Well,
you
what's
can
the
have my nomination for Flog of the Week. You guys are a bunch of wankers, overzealous, causing a panic over nothing, shitheads. You can get stuck.
I've got a flog of the week, and it's to every American who decided to drive from Las Vegas to Los Angeles on the Sunday after Thanksgiving and made me miss my flight. Fuck you.
Were you driving there too, or did they bank you? What?
Yes, I was driving there, and what should have taken 3.5 hours took 9.5 hours, and I missed my flight.
oh,
Was this your
Ouch.
flight home?
Yes, after 5 weeks, and I missed my direct flight home, and if it wasn't
Didn't you
for...
get to share the 9 hours with the Grille?
what?
Sorry, I mean Northern Lights. I get confused with bloody North Coast.
Or you North
North
supporters
is
are
the
the same,
same.
eh?
I think Dan just gave the gig up that North don't actually have a whole bunch of members. You're all just the same person posting on different...
We're all
you're
just the same person. So anyways, you were driving for 9 hours.
9.5, and I missed my flight.
I know.
I arrived at the airport 5 minutes after it left.
Oh,
Fuck.
That
Yeah,
sucks.
and then had to return the rental car. And as I was coming back, my phone rang, and it was a Los Angeles number, and I answered it. And it was the Qantas duty manager in Los Angeles airport, and he said, "How far away are you?" And I said, 10 minutes. He goes, if you can get here in 10 minutes, I'll get you on a flight to Brisbane. So I was on the shuttle bus, stuck in traffic that wasn't moving. I got off the shuttle bus and I run like 2 terminals away. And I got to the check-in desk and there was no passengers left there. It was empty. There was just this one staff member who checked me and took my bags, and then someone else escorted us all the way to the gate and got us on the Brisbane flight. So we got to Brisbane at least. But 9.5 hours when it was supposed to be 3.5 was fucking brutal.
Why do people go to Vegas for Thanksgiving?
Who knows?
Yeah,
Well,
that would have been...
it's the holiday weekend over there, so people probably like
Why
to...
to Vegas? Like Thanksgiving and Christmas are 2 times you don't go to Vegas. Whereas...
Thanksgiving's all about family.
Yeah, but some people probably don't celebrate it as much as others, but they still get the long weekend, so they use it and they go out.
Yeah, it was
Gravity.
really busy in Vegas, and because of like Black Friday and the amount of shops they have there and like the outlets and stuff, it was packed.
Did you hit the casinos?
Yeah, every day.
Fucking hell. You went to Vegas, did you hit the casinos?
Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a dumb question. Oh, yes. Okay.
You can't
Did you
walk
shoot
to
a
your
gun,
room without
Morgs?
hitting the casino.
You went
No.
to Antarctica. Did you see the snow?
You went to Sweden, did you see the esports? Oh, poor Jose.
Rough.
Hi, Morgs. Check your PMs, by the way.
I am writing back.
Yeah, I can hear it.
I'm mashing the keyboard currently.
Have you considered a career in esports?
I wonder if there's like esports scouts that go around.
Oh, there totally are.
Talent scouts, just...
They go through the fucking YouTube channels, like scanning YouTube channels for someone who seems to do their shit quickly, or
No. Physical esports scouts, they like go up to people's windows and look through them with binoculars and just see how fast they're able to, you know...
What are you doing outside my window? Just scouting for esports, mate.
Hey, that would be a better defense for Don Burke than the fucking one he pulled.
Esports scout.
Well, he's probably socially inept as some of those kids, so yeah, probably would.
Did we get a flog of the month? Anyone else want to nominate anyone?
Nah, let Dan have that one. He's pretty passionate about it.
Bob Katter.
Sorry, Morgs. Dan
Well,
gets
I
it.
was kind of look. I didn't want to see devastation and houses ruined and people
Sounds
dying
like
and
you
shit.
did.
But living in this
No, you
country,
did. Some people
we're
just want to
relative-
watch the world flood.
Oh, okay, a little bit. But living in this country, we're relatively lucky when it comes to natural disasters via the weather. We don't get cyclones or hurricanes or tornadoes or tsunamis or earthquakes or volcanoes going off.
We
We're
do get
relatively lucky.
cyclones.
We get
No, we
cyclones and earthquakes.
Yeah, little pissy ones. They're nothing.
Little
Compared
pissy
to
ones.
other...
That's all the people whose houses...
Oh, you're talking about the Queensland one from like 6 years ago?
Once every 3 months, Queensland gets a cyclone.
Well, we're not from Queensland.
So do you reckon Bob Katter would sort of like, Crocnado?
Yeah, the crocodiles are in the air flying.
And bloody Bob Cavanagh's just running around, it's a fucking disaster! It's a fucking disaster!
Oh, someone's gonna make that movie. So yeah, nobody else had a nom other than Dan and Morgs.
Nah, let Dan have this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to see a little something from this bloody weather. Nothing happened. I went out of my way to move all the electrical shit in my garage and put it into my house. Because I thought my garage
Anyway.
was going to get flooded, but nothing happened.
Yeah, I'm so pissed off there was no floods.
No.
Bloody hell. Yeah, as Dan wins by default.
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 Anyway, I think that's everything. So this was the Flogcast for the draft and everything else. Starburns joined by Grille,
Good night.
Morgs,
Au revoir.
Dan.
Now, listen here, all right? This is the last thing I'm going to say.
Oh,
We're not going to wait a month for
I
this
knew
to come
this
out
was
like
gonna
we
be-
did with the last one.
We didn't wait a
The
month,
last
we
one was
waited
a joke.
exactly a week.
No, listen to me. If none of us said anything, we would have waited a month. Now we're not going to wait 2 weeks for this to come out. The last one was farcical.
We're not going to take it.
We're not going to take it. We won't take it. Hey, is Cooks in here?
No.
I was going to get him to
Is Cooks in here? We've been on for
Yeah.
2 hours and you didn't even notice if Cooks was here or not.
Guys, is Teach on?
Has anyone heard from Penal?
Teacher's snoozing.
Matrox, where are you? Speak up.
Cookson's probably cancelling his brother who's still crying over Nick Grille.
and Penal.
Adios.
Before we go, though, as per usual at this stage of the year, we do bring back the old top 5 for the top 5 moments of the season. Now, of course, it would have been very easy for the entire top 5 to be related to Dan, but we've decided to try and spread it out a bit more. So, with apologies to Morgs and Jack Silvani, who was robbed again, we'll begin number 5, which comes from the very first episode of the season where Dan set the tone for much of his contributions this year.
I don't like the Australian cricket team. I wanted India to win. That's all.
Thanks, Divvy.
I'm
patriotic.
I realised that's going to cast me in extreme territory.
Go to
over
Canada.
Here.
Fuck off to Canada, buddy.
You could probably get a game for the Canada cricket team.
John Davison.
I mean, if the investor visa thing doesn't happen, I mean that's always the backup plan. You know, they could poach me as a cricketing superstar with my solid medium pace deliveries.
That makes you Express in Canada, I think.
I have an idea. Just with the Canada thing, why don't you just marry some chick that's Canadian?
Or a guy.
Or a guy.
I think it's okay. That's legal in Canada.
Is it legal over there to?
I believe it is. You can marry a moose over there, so you must be able to marry.
You won't have to fork out that $7.5K to.
It's not 7.5. It's 750.
Oh jeez.
I'm pretty sure I could find 7.5K, Dan.
Sorry, I thought it was 7. I thought you were struggling with 7.5K.
That's the flight.
This is why he was bringing up the show before and $2,000 and shit, because he wasn't listening to the fact it was $750K.
Why are they asking you that sort of amount of money? That's ridiculous.
Well, that's what we were saying, and you're like, well, you could just go to the Melbourne show.
It's not a fee. You're meant to take it and invest it in the like economy there and to actually grow their country.
If Canada told me I had to pay just $7.5K,
but it's not paid.
I tell them to fuck off.
You get them.
You're not having my money. You should be honoured that I've even considered coming to your country.
You stupid fuck.
Can we make Danny ambassador to Canada?
Well, he'd do a better job than Sarah Palin.
Is she the ambassador to Canada?
It's not $7.5K.
The US one, yeah.
She can see Canada from her
house. If Canada asked me for any money at all, I wouldn't give them a cent.
We want the internet monies.
Listen, I know it's not $7.5K, and I'm just making the point in saying I wouldn't even pay that anyway, even if I was going to Canada.
You thought it was
before.
I did
You don't have to pay. It's not a fee. It's an investment.
It's not a fee. You just have to have that amount of money.
Okay, why are they asking you to invest that kind of money?
So they know you're not a fucking free leecher who's just going to go over there and suck
Penal, you are a free
welfare
cheating. Well, not welfare cheating, but you are a bit of a, to be honest. You're not there to help Canada's reputation. You're just there to just get away from
Yes, I am. I'm going to be the best express bowler of all time.
You're not going to Canada to enhance its reputation. You're just there as being you.
Oh, that's such a bad thing.
That's no offense. No offense.
No offense given.
And it shouldn't be taken. Like if I'm going somewhere, I'm not going to enhance that. Yeah, I know. I'm digging myself a bigger hole. Look, I'm not going there to enhance that country's reputation. I'm just there to do whatever I want. And no, I'm not going to invest in some bullshit.
Just for those who don't know, Teacher's taking a well-deserved break from Bigfooty this year, and Dan clearly wants to step into his shoes.
Canada's asking too much of Penal, and it's a shit place to begin with. And
so where do you suggest, Dan?
What's that?
Where do you suggest?
Go to Bali. They're not going to ask anything of you. They're just going to ask. The only thing they'll ask you is to have your hair braided and ask you if you want to see boy or girl.
Maybe I'll go to Sweden and move in next to Roger Federer.
Oh yeah, I got that one wrong. Okay.
Just one.
Number 4 comes from the shortest episode of the season, yet despite that, one particular subject took up the vast portion of that episode. I have tears. I have tears for Alex for Solo. And for Solo, the siren had blown, the game was over. Fuck off, mate. That goal meant nothing to you, but it meant a hell of a lot to me, because I had Melbourne from 10 to 19 points, and you should have just thrown that ball into the ground in disgust instead of taking your kick. because 10 to 19 points was paying $7, and I was at the game, and...
Well, you clearly didn't yell loud enough from the MCC. He couldn't hear, so... He
was right in front of me.
Right in front of you.
I was about 4 level. I was on the 4th level, so I was a fair bit above him, but he was right in front of me. And
don't kick it.
Yeah, well, maybe he should have just given up, because
I could win $50. Don't kick it, please.
It would have paid for my day, and it was quite a day. So,
please,
for Solo, fuck off. That meant nothing to you. That meant nothing to you. It only meant anything to you and all the flogs who have you in Supercoach, who, if they still have you in Supercoach, are idiots because your value has plummeted.
There's percentage. I mean, he's got to kick the goal.
No, fuck off. It's not going to mean shit. Fuck off for Solo. You just did it for the cheap stats. You shit cunt. You cost me money.
Isn't that like what his entire career has been, though? Or the cheap
fucking goals? And it was a one-handed mark too. Like, just fuck that guy.
Like,
I'm actually I don't bet on football often, and we put some money together. We're like, what are we going to back? We backed Melbourne from 10 to 20 at $7, and we're like, we're pretty pleased with that, and we're hanging on that all day. And then to have Solo rip that at the last minute, fuck that guy. Why is he even playing? He was meant to be depressed. Like,
Jesus. Yeah, fuck you for Solo. I wish your mental illness was worse.
Fucking great drugs they got at Collingwood got him back. Like,
what is it with drunk people hating on for Solo?
Well, he cost me money.
He's a forward. He's having a set shot at goal. He's doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, the game was over. He could not affect the result. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, but there's percentage at place.
Oh, mate, they're not playing finals. If he doesn't kick the goal, it's better for their draft position.
It makes him look worse if he just decides to put the ball on the ground.
Could kick out the full. Could have kicked out in the full.
Well, how was he to know? How much did you stand to win if one between 10 and 20 points?
It was only 35 each.
Oh, what are you complaining about?
That was my beers that was basically my beers for the day. That would have paid for my day, and you know what? I had a pretty good day. So
what are you complaining about?
Doesn't sound like it now.
Because for Solo didn't need a fucking... Actually, it was about half my beers for the day. But for Solo he didn't need to do it. Why did he do it? Fuck you for Solo. And I was with a Melbourne supporter, and he was all pumped, and I just couldn't be excited for him because Alex Fasolo cost me money.
You weren't going to get your $35.
Exactly right. My beer money. Fasolo cost me my beer money, and it's got to be said. I'm not.
So is that? Are you going to view Fasolo for the rest of your life in that sort of disdain sort of?
I think I will, because you know what? If Melbourne had blown them out and won by 30 points, I would have said, "Oh shit, that sucks." But because they were 10 points up,
you wouldn't have blamed Melbourne for winning.
No, because they were 10 points up before Fasolo took their kick. I'm going to say, "Fuck you, Fasolo." No,
fuck you, Melbourne. For winning
you could have made my day out basically cost neutral, and you didn't, because you're all about the Supercoach points and the fucking winning the gold trophy that Morgs is going to steal anyway, and. Yeah, so he doesn't think about the common man.
I think this is very harsh on Fasolo. He's just doing his thing. I mean, how's he to know some pissed little midget in the MCC is riding on his kick? I mean, come on.
No, fuck Fasolo. And you know what? Robbo was right. He came back too quickly. What with the drugs?
Oh, just Fasolo kicking. Jesus. Poor guy hasn't even done anything wrong.
With number 3, we were exposed to the seedy underbelly of the Flogcast.
Yeah, I got nothing really either, so I'm just going to
I'm just going to stick with the Asian man theme and have goo for Chinese people that keep buying up all the baby formula from Australia and sending it back to China, because it's really a growth industry, and I've been able to make a fair bit of money out of that trade. So,
Wait. Are you going into the supermarket and buying baby formula? And
you weird man.
Exporting it on using eBay to...
You strange. That explains why you went on last week.
I'm in the
baby formula scam.
You can't smuggle baby formula, you...
This has got trade draft-esque about...
Wait till trade draft finds out that he's selling baby formula.
Do you do this while sitting in a cot?
It's just a growth industry, and there's a buck to be made. It's a lot more reliable than going down to the Tats Lotto or TAB.
See, look at the levels you've had to stoop to just to try to get into Canada.
That's 7.5k. How are you there? Nearly there yet? The thing that I don't get is what's with baby formula that there's such a shortage of it? If there's clearly such a demand, why is there no supply? What's it made of?
It's because the thing about China is that there's a lot of fucking people, and the supply there is often very low quality. So they want all of the Australian source products like the A2 and the Aptamil or whatever they call it. So I'm big on A2. So get on it.
Tried it, have you?
And
breast milk Penal.
And yeah, they just want the Australian product because the ones they produce locally is shoddy. I wish it was a more exciting story, but it's not.
Shocking, Penal. We've stooped to some lows on here, but that might be the worst of them. Actually, can we nominate Penal? You know, there is only so much baby formula to go around, and you're profiteering off.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Pain and suffering of hard-working Australians.
He's got to destroy the baby formula market like he destroyed the housing market.
I am doing a service for humanity. I am making sure millions of Chinese babies don't have to endure the horror of Chinese baby food, you know? Dan, back me up on this one.
What the hell are you looking to me to back you up on this?
No, because you know how bad Chinese food is.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, it's going to be bad regardless. I mean, it's going to stink no matter what.
That's why you got to give them the premium Australian baby formula product.
So they're smart enough to make better food that doesn't stink as much. You're an idiot. I'm not backing you up. You're on your own. Penal is flog of the week.
Seriously though, before we go, are you actually selling baby formula?
Not selling it, but I've got skin in the game.
What's that even mean? What's that even mean?
I feel like I'm getting in too deep with the baby formula.
What do you mean by skin in the game? What does that even mean?
Look, it's happening, so I may as well profit off it, you know? All I'm saying, you know, I've got connections who are doing the dirty work, and, you know...
Yeah, I don't like that
phrase.
It's a phrase that Tom Waterhouse used in his ads.
There's nothing illegal or unethical about the baby formula to China trade. It's just basically everyone
just
benefits.
A noble man that wants to make Chinese babies smarter.
Exactly, and healthier.
Yeah, because you care. Yeah, of course. And if you make a little bit of money on the side, then that's okay.
Yeah.
I see exactly where you're coming from.
That's what skin in the game is.
What a courteous, noble individual you are, Penal. You should be honoured and considered Australian of the Year. You don't my vote.
One particular ongoing saga overshadowed all on the Flogcast in 2017, and whilst it's very hard to pinpoint an exact example of this snippet from early in the season goes very close to summarising the whole thing. So, number 2. Richmond went to 3-zip in the wet again.
No, Damien Hardwick went to 3-zip. I'm not too sure about Richmond.
Not even the real coach.
He's the reason why your team
No, he's not.
hasn't lost a game. Yes.
Neil Barnes said, "Stop this bullshit. Blake Carousella is in charge."
No, he's not. Damien Hardwick is the man, and he's not getting sacked.
No, he has a proven track record of failure.
He's done enough this year to get another year.
No, he hasn't.
He's going to get an extension.
No.
What more could you possibly expect from him, Starburns? He's passed every test so far with flying colours.
The team has passed every test so far.
And he's the leader of the team. He's the coach.
No, because Blake Carousel is calling the shots, and they're telling him, stop being such a fucking mong and let the players play football. The two people driving the Tiggy train are Barm and Carousel, and Trent Cotchin, who's rejected the Hardwick crab game style and is back to his Brownlow best again. It was sensational.
Even if that was true, Hardwick is still there,
he's a figurehead.
You're just clutching at straws to fit your own narrative.
He's a figurehead.
It's more realistic that he fucking became a good coach overnight than that this fucking other bullshit that you're cooking up just because you don't like the guy.
He didn't become a good coach overnight. He was a good coach before.
No, he's been a terrible coach all along.
Best out of a shit list.
No, because the list is showing right now that clearly they were capable of more, but he was holding them back.
No, but he's still there, and he's taking him forward.
You're going to extend his contract, and then they're going to go on a 9-game losing streak and miss out on the
finals. We're not
finals.
going to extend his contract. He's got another year.
Yes,
they're not going to do anything.
No, that didn't stop you last time.
Yeah, but we know better now.
No, you don't. You're Richmond.
But what does he have to do at this point? Like, if Richmond win the flag this year, will you still fucking call for him to be sacked?
I'll just say leave it as is and let Carousella keep coaching.
If Richmond don't win the flag, it'd be the biggest choke in history.
Yeah, because fucking Carousel is the greatest coach ever, apparently. So how could they not win the flag with him driving the bus?
I didn't say he was the greatest coach because I don't think we're going to win the flag. But if we do, it ain't going to be anything. It won't going to be.
You're on top of the ladder. It's no excuse.
No, we're second.
Yeah, second always wins.
Equal top.
Yeah, but we haven't played anyone of note.
You know, the last 5 years, second on round 3 has always won the flag.
Oh, bullshit.
What if that turned out to be true?
It's about as true as the Adelaide
I was about
thing.
to say Adelaide already had.
Oh, yes, yeah. I don't know where that came from. I'm sorry.
I believed you, Dan. It sounded real. That's what's important.
It sounded genuine and from a place of knowledge, but really it was just
You speak bullshit with such conviction that people believe you.
But it's the sort of story that people could actually believe. It's not like a story like, oh, Damien Hardwick doesn't get to do anything. He's just a figurehead. These other guys are really driving the bus.
The figurehead's the most logical explanation.
No, that's a load of bullshit.
Like Carousella, I didn't even know was a part of Richmond this year until you mentioned his name 10 minutes ago.
Well, there you go. He is, and he's the secret to our success.
Oh, this is like Illuminati shit.
That's not Illuminati shit. It's just common sense that Damien Hardwick is a bad coach, so the explanation has to be something else.
This is so great. When Starburns unwrapped his chocolate, he put his tinfoil on his head.
Well, okay, maybe it's not Carousel, maybe it's Balm, maybe it's the players. I don't know, but it's sure as shit.
Hang on, you don't even know what's going on. You don't even know who's leading the team. I'll tell you
as
who's
I said,
leading
it's the
the
most
team.
logical explanation because it's not Hardwick. It's anything but Hardwick. It might be a combination.
Why
of
wouldn't it
5
be
other
the senior coach who's leading the club?
Because the senior coach is a retard.
Well, that retard has your team 3 and zip.
Yeah, again, we haven't played anyone yet.
Yeah, and well, you beat West Coast last week.
Yeah, we got lucky like Collingwood.
Our season's fucking done, so I hope Richmond win the flag this year, just so I can see this guy fucking explain his way out of this one. Just like, well, I should be happy, but I can't be happy because our senior coach is a retard.
So what's going to happen on grand final day? Is Dim going to give his medal to Blake Carousella?
Well, if he has any self-respect, he will.
You're an idiot. Like, usually I respect your opinion, but you're just a fuckwit.
He's an idiot.
There's only one idiot right now, and it's you at the moment.
Yeah, but if he doesn't give his Jock McHale medal up, are you going to go to the BNF and take it off him like Morgs and the goal-kicking trophy?
No, that's not my style. But
this is your plugger moment.
It's not my plugger moment. It's not the coach, and it's gonna.
You can have the plugger mantle this week, okay?
Plugger burns.
Fucking, you're obsessed. You keep making everything about Hardwick. Like, this is fucking you're projecting.
No, I'm just pointing out the ridiculousness of your fucking arguments.
No, it's a lot easier to get carried to a premiership as a player than it is as a coach.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why we're not going to win a fucking premiership. Are you people seriously awarding us a premiership?
Yes, you're 3 and zip.
3 and zip.
The pressure's all on you to deliver.
Oh my god, I can't wait to polish the April Premiership Cup.
No one has ever lost the premiership after sitting second on the ladder after round 3.
They give you a break from polishing something else.
Pretty hard to top that entire saga, but in 2017, the coin was a fantastic addition to the Flogcast, akin to Brian Taylor on Friday Night Football, and very early on it gave us this lolsy moment, which comes in at number 1.
Hey Dan, how bad did your Dr. Vickles thing backfire? She loved being Flog of the Week.
I know, what the fuck? She embraced it. I'm like, no, I'm trying to support you and whatnot, and now it's like, no, I love being Flog of the Week. It was great. Oh, for fuck's sake.
She obviously didn't listen to the podcast.
No, whatever. I don't care. Did anyone tip 9
Yes.
on Bigfooty?
Yes.
Who?
Me.
This week's Flog of the Week.
You did not.
I did.
Did you?
I tipped all 9. It was an easy
It
fucking
was an
week.
easy week to tip.
Even I got 8.
If you were on 2 after Friday night, you probably got to 9.
I went with the
Unless you're
stupid
like me
coin
and an
predictor.
idiot.
Am I the only one that went with the coin prediction?
You idiot.
I thought we all had a gentleman's agreement that we were going to go with a coin this week.
Gentleman's agreement.
You guys are worse than Chief with changing tips. Shame on all of you. If you're going to nominate that person last week for getting 8, I'm nominating all of you for Flog of the Week this week. Oh, I got 9. I got 8. Yeah, it was an easy week to tip this week. Yeah, okay.
Tough week for you, Dan.
Who the fuck makes who makes their tips based on what a fucking coin flip tells them? I mean, how stupid do you have to be?
That's what we did last week, dummy. Wasn't my genius idea.
Do you think Teach ever went through with his tips on a Monday?
No, but that's Teach. This was the first time we used a coin's prediction, and I thought we were all going to use its tips.
Well, why don't we just have one joint account then? That
Well,
tips
you
We're
guys
gonna
wouldn't have
tip
been laughing if he tipped 9.
Well, it didn't tip 9. If it tipped 9, Morgs would probably nominate it for Flog of the Week.
Instead, I'm going to nominate you, Dan.
Dan only got 5. I got 9.
I got 6.
The coin was wise enough to avoid
Hey,
any risk of being
Cookie,
Flog
you're a
of the Week.
liar. You're a liar, Cookie. You got 5. You used the coin as well.
Yeah.
Liar of the year is you, Cookson. You got 5, you lying turd.
Yeah, I used to coin too, Dan, but you don't see me complaining.
See, look, now it all comes out. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Sat
Well, at
there
least
when
I
you...
came clean up front. You lied.
Dan was ranting. I'm not going to cut out on a good rant, just, for moral
Yeah,
reasons.
watch him hang you out to dry, Dan. Didn't even...
You are a disgrace. You saw me get bloody taken apart by everybody else because I used the coins tips, and you thought, you know what, I'm just going to stay quiet here and not say I too used the coins tips to make myself look stupid. I'll let Dan take all the heat from all this.
I never said I'm not a coward.
You are a coward.
You are Andrew Mackey.
You are Andrew Mackey of podcasts. And if you did your own podcast, it would just be average and terrible. But because you're with us, we've made you into this great podcaster that everybody knows about. Be great.
I'm crying.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next season.